Fox glasses for all those nerds out there.
Thomas Bryant jockstrap, get him out of here!
How does that not indicate to you, like, hey, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Donald, get back! They snatched that chain, boy. Get back! What's all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back! We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back!
Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. I'm Ryan Tyler. He's Jack O'Rourke. He's Nick Padone. He's Rob Watson. Appreciate everybody tuning in on this Monday morning. If you're watching this live, good morning. Happy Monday. If you're watching this on the Rock Entertainment Sports Group, well, you've had another day to digest a Cleveland Browns victory. Here we are on Monday. We don't get too many of those Victory Mondays, so we got to soak them in while we can. Good morning, gentlemen. How was the weekend? How are we feeling this morning?
Dude, I think this was one of the greatest weekends of the year. This was just all around from start to finish. Soon as I left work Friday, just from Friday to Sunday night, great weekend. A lot of great stuff happening. 2 Cavs wins. Abdullah Mason wins a championship. Browns win. We get to see an actual quarterback throw the ball over 50 yards. I got to go on the Cavs court, shoot a couple threes during the game on Friday. Like, it was a great weekend overall, man. It was crazy.
Jack, we got a ton to talk about, but before we dive too much into it, I want to say your Jeremiah Love Heisman campaign had a great Saturday.
Yeah, I've been pushing that narrative so hard for the last couple of weeks now. People are laughing at me, making fun of me. Comes out 8 rushes, 171 yards, 3 TDs in his last game at Notre Dame Stadium, and he's tied for second now with Julian Sayin. So hey, maybe if it's like a defensive battle Big Ten championship, you never know.
Do you think it could actually happen? And does he deserve
No, it won't happen.
He has no chance. He'll deserve the award. He won't win it.
I think he's the best. I think that I'm very appreciative that the narrative is becoming nationally what Rob just said, though, that like everyone is admitting Jeremiah Love is the best player in the country, but it is a quarterback award.
Nick, good morning.
What up, guys?
How are you?
Victory Monday. I'm good, man. It was nice to see the Browns get a win. Like that is the thing that we can take with us through the entire rest of the week. It's Thanksgiving week, so you know your grumpy uncle that wants to sit there and just moan and groan about the Browns, you could at least have in your back pocket that they were able to get another win. Thank goodness.
Before we get too deep again, Nick, I know you're not the biggest Thanksgiving guy in the world. Do you think does a Browns win change that at all, though, for you? Is it more higher spirits?
Yeah, I mean, no.
Well, let's talk about that before we get into our first break, guys. When you have a Victory Monday, as a Cleveland Browns fan, they come far and few in between. This is our 3rd one of this season, and we are in Week 12. So quarter of the time, I guess we get a Victory Monday. We've seen worse. Doesn't it just feel the vibes? Like you drive into work in the morning, you turn on the radio, you listen to whatever sports talk you like, and just the vibes. A win cures everything. Was the game perfect? No, and we'll dive into that. But just the vibes on a Monday coming off a victory, it just feels so damn good.
Right, and I know like everybody, you know, there's this weird subsect of people that was like, you know, they want to be mad about the win because of the draft, and obviously, you know, that hurts. That hurts the race to the bottom. It really does. Like because the Raiders, we spend a lot of time belly aching about the Browns offensive line, guys. The Raiders are bad. Guys, the Raiders quarterback is bad. You know, we've seen the Jets and how bad they are. We've seen the Dolphins and how bad they are. The Giants only have 2 wins. The Saints only have 2 wins. Like, unless something crazy happens, it's hard to see a world where the Browns get a top 3 NFL draft pick after beating the Las Vegas Raiders. But April is for figuring out the NFL draft. You know, March is for figuring out the NFL draft. Right now, when you've got these games that are winnable and you've got this defense playing as dominant as they are, and you've got a young quarterback that you're trying to figure out what this kid has. Is he good? Is he bad? Is he just a product of hype? Does he have raw talent and ability? Like, as you're trying to solve all of these questions while you have a defense that's playing so dominant, like, you can kind of afford to figure out the draft in April. How many times have we seen the Browns, you know, purposely try to lose football games in benefit of draft position, and they haven't really gotten very far as a result of that? So I'm in favor of trying the opposite, and if you've got winnable games, try to win them, and that's exactly what they did on Sunday. So I don't really understand the people that are upset about this win, but they're certainly out there.
If winning a game and winning more games means you're getting closer to finding out you might not have to use one of your 2 first picks on a certain position, I don't know how you get mad about that. Win's a win. You saw great progression from a position that could be of need but might not be if you continue to see progression. So if you're mad about them winning the game, honestly, I don't know what you're doing. Can't really call yourself a fan, especially when, like last year, it's a bunch of question marks at that position in the draft class. So if you're talking about the race for Mendoza, for Simpson, maybe Dante Moore, whoever you want, you don't really know anyway, because maybe we have another year where all those guys aren't that good.
I feel like also people are talking about like it's probably going to be a tackle or a wide receiver no matter what, at least early on in some way, shape, or form. You're going to get, I mean, like the top receivers, like maybe Carnell Tate goes high, but there's going to be 3 to 4 legit receivers that are there no matter when you pick, whether it's your first pick or your Jacksonville pick. And there's no offensive tackle that's going to go in the top 3 or 4. So those positions in need are still going to be there if you're at 7 or if you're at 3.
And like the thing with the quarterbacks, because I know that's what everybody wants to talk about. And Shedeur played fairly well. He beat a horrible Raiders team. He had one really good throw, one really bad throw, and kind of just meddled around the middle for the whole rest of the game. But like, are we really ready to hitch our wagon to Fernando Mendoza here November 24th? Like, I think there's certainly a ceiling there that's been reached. Ty Simpson has played less college football games than Kyrie Irving played college basketball games. Like, there's not a lot of experience.
Really?
Not actually.
I was going to say, that's wild.
I think he's only played 4 more games.
Yeah, it's got to be close. It's got to be really close, yeah.
Kyrie was like single digits.
Yeah. So, like, it's not tremendously more. So it's all tremendously too early for the draft stuff. And that's why I would come in here after every loss tongue-in-cheek and say, well, it was a big day for the mock drafters, just because traditionally that's all we have to hold on to when they do lose. Like, all you have to look on to is what they're going to do in April. But for one day and for 1 week, you could celebrate being a winner, and you could celebrate having a team that produced a winning field on the product and actually talk about what they could put on the field the next following week instead of the next following year and what they're going to do in April, which is months down the line. Like, this is all good things, guys. Positive developments happening here.
Well, you're going to see 4 happy gentlemen here at Burke Lakefront Airport at the Big Play Studios, because not only did the Browns win, guys, they won by 14 points. Double-digit victory for our Cleveland Browns, so we'll celebrate that anytime we get the chance as Rob throws up the wrist. We got to take our first break, but when we get back, we're breaking it all down. Browns 24, Raiders 10 when we get back right here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack Orrick, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. We're talking about our Cleveland Browns and their victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. Before we do that, I got to tell you about Garage Beer, our great friends. Had a couple Garage Beers last night to celebrate the Cleveland Browns victory. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors. That's classic light lager as well as that classic lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer the way you want beer to taste, and that is beer-flavored beer. So scan that QR code now. Give their website a visit, drinkgaragebeer.com, to find local retailers who sell Garage Beer near you. Again, that is drinkgaragebeer.com. Well, hopefully we have some more Cleveland Browns victories to celebrate and drink some Garage Beer with. But for now, we start with the Cleveland Browns victory against the Las Vegas Raiders. Final score 24-10. Nick, in that first segment, you talked about how bad the Raiders are, and boy, are they bad. Maybe the worst team in the entire NFL. Them, the Jets, you think about it, even though they beat our Cleveland Browns, still think we got some more talent on our side of the ball, and I think yesterday showed that there are levels to the NFL, man. Yeah. And I think yesterday's game exemplified that. The Browns, yes, they're not a great football team right now, but they're certainly better than the Raiders, and they showed that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Nick, I'll start here with you. I shouldn't say last night. I said yesterday, the Cleveland Browns game against the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday. Didn't it look like a Browns team maybe found a new purpose, at least a new energy? And I think that does start with Shedeur Sanders at the helm, a new guy coming in, giving the team some life, giving the team a word we throw around a lot, hope, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you saw from the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, in all 3 phases. And I think that's important because, like, again, think of how many times we've sat here and just hemorrhaged Bubba Ventrone, for special, and you get the first return out the gate, and Gage Larvidan hits the Jets on a big return that sets Shedeur Sanders up with favorable field position. They're not able to do anything with it. The Browns defense does what the Browns defense does. Myles Garrett's Myles Garrett. You get the football back, and you're ultimately able to orchestrate a really nice touchdown drive where they did throw the offense back. They made life easy on Shedeur Sanders. They broke out the Wildcat, and Quinshon Judkins was able to score a really nice touchdown there. So, like, they did right. And I think this is another big piece of this, too, and the Browns do deserve their credit for it. They did right by Shedeur Sanders yesterday. They made life tremendously easy on him. I really like what Tommy Rees has done in his first 3 games now as the Browns offensive play caller. It looks to me as if the Browns are running the football to set up the pass, whereas previously under Stefanski, they were trying to pass to set up the run. And everybody in their mind thought that that was not the way to do it. You had to do it the other way, especially when you got a talented running back like Judkins. And I think the fact that they were able to play from ahead the entire game let Shedeur take some chances. And I think late third quarter, throughout the entire fourth quarter, they were able to slowly start to put more and more onto his plate because they were playing with a pretty comfortable lead in a game that was not really as close as what the final score said because of how great that defense was.
I think also hitting on Tommy Rees, like you just said, Nick, one thing we talked about at length when Tommy Rees took over play calling was the utilization or lack thereof up to the time of Dylan Sampson, like how much more I thought he would play and get usage. And it's nice to see him get going because I feel like week 1 against Cincinnati, like you said, like, okay, maybe we have 2 good running backs now. Not a ton in the interim, comes out, has that big play yesterday, helps Shedeur, and then really ices the game. But even like Hope Ryan, like you said, like the way Myles turned, we all saw it. It was everywhere. Nick, you sent a tweet out about it that went viral. Like the way Myles turns and just makes that face, like it literally was everyone in Cleveland was like, whoa, it's a quarterback throwing the ball that far down the field. It was a broken play pretty much. Like it was ridiculous. Like even Kevin gave a little bit of a smile when he talked about it after the game.
I wrote this in my column, and I'm trying to pull up the exact quote on Browns on SI after the game. And ultimately, I know we're going to talk about who deserves to be the quarterback moving forward and all that jazz. But to your point there about Myles Garrett, I wanted to read this. This is what Myles Garrett told Browns Radio Network in March. He said, any team that's going to go far needs a quarterback, and one that's young, can learn, and is willing to be patient with the process. There is going to be some bumps in the road. It's going to be some learning pains. But us as a team has to be able to be a landing pad for him to fall back on and know being on the defensive side to help him out whenever things go wrong. And I think too frequently with Dylan Gabriel, did the defense have to be hero? We're either doing it all ourselves or it's quite literally not going to happen at all. Too. Complementary football was what the Browns played against the Raiders, where Shedeur was able to do just enough. He was able to do what they asked of him, and the defense was able to pick up where he did have his mistake with the interception, where the offense did meddle in the middle there. They didn't score a touchdown in the second or third quarter, and you're ultimately able to walk away with a win and a game where Myles Garrett was smiling ear to ear at the end of it, and he said there's not many guys in the NFL that could make the throw that Shedeur Sanders made 52 yards down the field to Isaiah Bond, which was the longest throw in a Browns quarterback all season long. So, yeah, I think Myles pretty happy with how Sunday went.
Rob, Browns 3-8. We understand that the playoffs, they're not here. We know that's not going to happen. Hopefully next year will be a different story.
9-8 gets in.
Rob, when you watch the Cleveland Browns beat the Las Vegas Raiders, defense dominated. The offense did enough. Now, that might not be the case for some games in the future when you play better teams, but right now they did enough to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. Did you see a team that didn't look like they were 2-8 headed into that ball game?
Yes, bro. I said it last week. As soon as he came in the game, you could see the energy shift. And, like, they all talked about at length. Like, when you have a drive, and I could legitimately say this is the only drive that season where you were pretty much responsible for a touchdown because a quarterback made a play. Like, a quarterback put 7 points on the board for you with one throw. That's something that helps. And, like, we've all talked about it. Average offense with this defense, what could you get? You could get wins. We put up 24 points. Wasn't pretty. wasn't pretty. He did what he needed to do. He stopped going backwards. He stopped losing the game. He did have a bad throw, but he stood in there. He made some late dump offs to Harold Fannin, getting them in stride, not throwing it at people's ankles so they could actually maybe make some people miss. If Jerry Jeudy doesn't, skip to his Lou and just runs and gets to inside the 20, that might be another touchdown drive. You don't know. So, of course, the game isn't perfect. But if you can't see the clear, just he took a leap from last week to this week.
And even when you talk about a team who's so bad, and you lose week after week, like confidence goes down, morale goes down, just everything around the organization. When you have a quarterback like that come out before his first career start, when the last 17 guys who have come out and had their first career start lost, and he goes, "I'm who they've been waiting for," like that transpires. That goes through the locker room. Like obviously, they probably didn't hear that, but you throughout the week just listening to the guy, it changes everything when you have an actual leader in front of everyone.
He's a little nuts. I've always said
you need that though, right?
Whoever's going to be the quarterback that
he's just confident.
I don't know that it's going to be Shedeur that breaks, the wandering the quarterback desert since 1999. I always said they had to be a little bit delusional, and I think Shedeur Sanders is a little bit delusional. I really do, because I think he still is a developmental quarterback. I don't think he's as legendary yet as he currently leads himself on to believe, and I do think you listen to his post-game press conference, he sounded like he had literally just defeated Goliath, when as in reality he was 11 for 20 passing against one of the worst teams in the National Football League. But that's really good. That's the mindset that you need to compete and to win and to weather the storm of what's required to be a franchise quarterback. How many times have we seen guys just cower with their tail between their legs after a win or a loss and that just don't have anything to say? I don't go sing your own praises, Shedeur Sanders, if that's what it's going to take for you to continue to deliver performances like what you delivered on Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. I absolutely love the attitude, and I do think it's, as Jarvis Landry famously said, the great poet, it's contagious. I think it really bled into the entire rest of the team. Defense balled out, but the special teams was really good as well.
He just continued to give you more that you want to see. Going from playing a terrible game to about an average, slightly above average game with a good throw, and now you want to see what it'll look like as he keeps getting in there. He keeps working with the guys. He keeps getting those reps. Can he keep building upon this? And where could he be in another 3 to 4 games instead of where we saw the Dylan Gabriel start and it was solid and it just completely got worse every week after that?
You don't beat a team, especially on the road, by 14 points unless you're playing complimentary football. And we've heard Kevin Stefanski reiterate in every post-game loss about complimentary football. The offense got to be great. The special teams got to be great. The defense got to be great. Coaching's got to be great. Well, I think for the first time all season, we can confidently say, and you can talk about the offense maybe not being great, but it was complimentary is what it was. The defense, absolutely phenomenal. One of the best defensive performances I've ever seen from a unit in one game. We'll get to more of that when we talk about Myles' potential back-to-back DPOY campaign, but special teams. Andre Schmidt, 1-for-1, a 53-yarder. Great. Gage Lavardin, amazing return that set up the Quinshon Judkins Wildcat touchdown. Is it a coincidence that the first time we see Shedeur Sanders go out there to be the Browns quarterback, that's the complete complimentary game that we get out of the Cleveland Browns?
Everyone playing with a little extra pep in their step, but I think it's still a lot to be desired on offense. I think the run game on the early downs is still absolutely abysmal. By
the way, can Kevin Stefanski run Quinshon outside?
Yeah, you know how many second and long, third and longs we got into? So that's why I'm not on him so much about the 11 for 20, because he did the right thing on a lot of those plays where he probably would have had to force it downfield and just threw it away or took the dump down underneath. There's so much, we can still do so much better in terms of our play calling and putting our guys in better chances to have third and manageable, second and short, where then you can take a shot where maybe the defense doesn't know what you're going to do. But yes, getting the kicks from Andre Schmidt, who's been great ever since his meltdown in week 1, and then Gage Lavardin coming out there and making a play. I mean, they did say the Raiders are an awful special teams team too, so that could play a part in it. But over a great game, when you get someone out there that you believe in, you're going to play with a little extra heart. You're going to make the extra guy miss. You're going to have that. You're going to be a half a step faster.
Well, one thing that's been annoying me, though, is just how much people are talking it's the Raiders. That makes me so mad for some reason. I understand, you're going to face much tougher teams throughout the year, but, at the end of the day, you have to go out there and win in the NFL, right? That Cam Ward had basically the exact same line against the Raiders when he played them a few weeks ago, and they only scored 10 points when they went into Las Vegas. Sometimes you got to take the wins with the young kids, right?
You dude, it's the National Football League. You take a win, I don't care who the opponent is. And Rob said it. This team, this Browns team, lost to the New York Football
And they
Jets
scored
2
with-
weeks ago.
with like 50 yards passing.
And that was all on one play from Breece Hall, which was a screen pass. Like that's
soon we
sometimes
forget, bro.
what's required. And I know we're gonna talk about what this all means for us moving forward here. In that game, you had a quarterback that airmailed a screen pass about 10 feet above Malachi Corley's head.
Slipped.
Malachi Corley wouldn't have been able to catch that ball if he was Yao Ming's height. And and Malachi Corley was
wrong.
incensed. He was absolutely incensed
'Cause
on
that
the
could have been our
sideline.
Dylan
'Cause that
Sampson
could have been
play.
the
Give
difference.
those a shrug.
And then
That's on me.
the difference of a game, you saw Shedeur Sanders hit that layup. You saw Dylan Sampson, by the way, turned on the jetpack for that 66-yard touchdown jaunt to the end zone. Shedeur Sanders' first ever career passing touchdown. And the result is different. You can only play who's in front of you, and you can only handle your own business. Like it is coach speak when they say like we've got to be better, we've got to focus on ourselves. But it's the truth, and the proof is in the results, guys. Like one game wound up to be very different because of a screen pass, and yesterday's game wound up to be a big fat victory because the quarterback was able to hit that screen pass and they executed.
Well, for those that missed it last night, Las Vegas Raiders also fired offensive coordinator Chip Kelly after their 24-10 loss to the Cleveland Browns.
Pour one
Raiders
out.
dropped
Yeah,
to
him
2-9.
and Jim Knowles. Him and
That's
Jim
future
Knowles.
senior offensive analyst for Ohio State, Chip Kelly.
This was the Raiders' third straight game,
Or he goes
scoring
back if
16
Hartline gets a
or
head coach
fewer
job.
points. All right, we got to take a break. When we get back, we are going to talk about the man of the hour, Shedeur Sanders, making his first career NFL start. Made a little history. We'll tell you about that when we get back right here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pannone, and Rob Watson continuing our talk about our Cleveland Browns as they get a much-needed victory over the Las Vegas Raiders, 24-10. That victory, guys, snaps a long 13-game road losing streak for the Cleveland Browns. Last road game they won before this contest. You got to go back to week 2 of last season when they traveled to Jacksonville and got a win. That was Deshaun Watson starting that game. Shedeur Sanders breaks that for our Cleveland Browns. He also makes history on his own some, becoming the first Cleveland Browns quarterback to win their first career start in brown and orange since 1995. You got to go back before they moved
Eric Zier.
to Baltimore. Eric Zier, you mentioned, did it. He was coached by Bill Belichick when they defeated the Cincinnati Bengals in overtime back in 1995. So, hell of a start for one Shedeur Sanders for our Cleveland Browns, guys. Stat line, 11 for 20, 209 yards passing, 1 touchdown to 1 interception. Listen, what was the story? A phenomenal throw to Isaiah Bond, picked up the blitz, got out of there, threw it across his body, made a phenomenal throw to Isaiah Bond, who caught it, almost fell into the end zone, and then the 1 pick. Didn't see the guy. I just think he completely missed him. Thought he was going to go to the flat and guard Quinshon Judkins, I believe it was, but no, he sat it, that curl hook flat zone, right into his hands. Hey, rookie quarterback, that's going to happen. But I love what I saw from the response. Bounce back, continued to take care of the football, threw it away when he got pressured, nobody was open. And hey, that's what you got to do when you have a defense this phenomenal. That's what Kevin Stefanski's going to ask his quarterback to do. Not go out there and win it, especially in his first start. But hey, Shedeur, you can't lose it for us, and that's exactly what he didn't do.
So I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna get into it, guys, because if you just look at the stat line, that's where your problem. A lot of box score watchers that probably didn't even watch the game were ready. They see, check down for a 66-yard touchdown. They're like, he's stat made. Listen, when we played the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dylan Gabriel threw the football 52 times for 220 yards. Shedeur Sanders threw for about, I think it was 209 yesterday on 20 attempts. Yes, we just talked about it last week when Nick was talking about it in the last segment. He airmails the ball over Malachi Corley's head versus the Jets. He also, in this game, 52-yard throw to Bond, 39-yard throw to Judy. I won't even count the throw to Sampson. And if you count last week's pass to Harold Finn, and he's got 3 passes over 40 yards. Dillon Gabriel had 1 play over 25 yards in all of his starts, and it was the seam route to Cedric Tillman. I'm just saying, when you have the respect that this quarterback is willing to throw the ball down the field, it opens up the rest of the game. If we're playing a game where we never throw the ball over 5 yards, I think they're sitting on that swing route to Dylan Sampson and it doesn't break for 60 yards. I think people are able, like Harold Fannin, to make plays because Shedeur is willing to get it there in the flat on time early and on target. They're not reaching down behind them and all these other things to catch the passes. So that's opening up time for yards after rack. Shedeur did a good job yesterday as well of buying extra time in the pocket. On his deep pass to Isaiah Bond, he had to roll out on another play where he dumped it down to Fannin. Took a nice little step back, but didn't retreat, didn't turn his back. Bought the last second, took another hit as he dumped it down. He runs for 15 yards after the play. He's also proven he's tough. He stood in there and he delivered some balls, threw some hits. So, again, I just love the progression, and I don't see how anyone would willingly think that you need to go back when you have this and you have that hope. How you can't go and see what that is for the rest of the season, I don't know.
After like hearing the way that your best player talks about the kid that took over at quarterback, like the increased production from some of the running backs, like obviously Harold Fannin getting involved again, like the offense just overall looks competent. You're able to go out and score 20 points. It would have to be like objectively career suicide from Kevin Stefanski to put Dillon Gabriel out there next week, right?
That wouldn't be his man's if he put him back in there. That's why I think he won't, because he loves him so much. That's his robot, Tim and Moby. Shout out the boys. He would, because I'm gonna be there, and everyone's gonna be there. Like the city's gonna turn out. If you seriously put Dillon out there, it's going to be a war zone again. You can tell every player can come out in the media and say, don't boo Gillen.
He'll get booed the first time. If he throws like, a dropped incompletion,
first 3 and out, like it's going to be nasty. So you just can't do it to the kid. Like it would be unfair to Dillon more than it would be unfair to Shedeur, in my opinion, to put him back out there.
It would quickly turn into a 49ers home game.
Yeah,
quickly. There are a lot of 49ers fans as it is that are around this area. Youngstown is a big 49er hotbed. So like already that's going to be an element of Sunday's game, and then even more so like their own fans will turn on Dillon Gabriel. I just don't understand. Like, we know what Dillon Gabriel is at this point. There's nothing that they can find out about Dillon Gabriel that hasn't been solved in his first 5 starts in the National Football League. He's not an NFL starting quarterback. He's maybe a backup quarterback. And my honest opinion is if they continue to put him on the football field in these spots, he's going to play his way out of even ever being a backup quarterback in this league, because he does not look like he belongs. He's completely overmatched in every single game that he plays. To me, there's like not even a debate here. To me, this is as clear, cut and dry as a decision has ever been. You continue to go with Shedeur Sanders because you're in evaluation mode, and you're evaluating not just your quarterback position, but you're evaluating this entire offense. And boy, didn't the offensive line look better. Shedeur was only sacked once. Didn't the receivers look a little bit better outside of Jerry Jeudy? I don't really know what that was. And Cedric Tillman went ghost, but you were able to get some other guys involved. Isaiah Bond showed that he can be more than a guy that can run really fast. Like, you have so many encouraging things that you can take out of this game because Shedeur played fairly well, and he didn't even play amazing. So imagine if he could stack a couple of starts, and then maybe against a bad team like the Tennessee Titans at home, you could allow Shedeur Sanders to get a little fat and to really show what he's capable of doing. I think that this is the biggest non-story in the National Football League this week that will dominate headlines because the intrigue is out there. But to me, there's absolutely no debate. It has to be Shedeur Sanders moving forward, because you learn absolutely nothing by going to any other option. Like, he proved to you that he's ready. You no longer have that shield to hide behind that he's not ready.
Can't gaslight us.
He just won a game. So I don't think you win that game if he's not ready. There's no other decision that can be made here.
Do you think it's Wednesday?
I would rip.
They won't be in the building till Wednesday, I don't think.
They're there today. I personally would rip the Band-Aid off today. I don't put anything past them. Like I told you, that's my belief that Shedeur Sanders should be the starting quarterback. Nothing from here out would surprise me.
And it's only because he came out the week before and said Dillon will be the starter when he's healthy, without knowing if he's going to clear and all this. And then he plays a good game. But then he went non-committal. So that's why I think he's going Shedeur. But yeah, like, if he's one of those coaches that's like super, hard nosed onto that, like you can't lose your job to an injury, it's gonna be a hostile environment on Sunday for a home.
It also would basically mean that Kevin Stefanski is telling you between the lines that he thought this past weekend was a total fluke, right?
We'll get to it.
He's coaching for his job. He's going to put the guy who thinks is the best option.
You also
thinks Dylan could have done.
And you also do have a
you have
a quarterback in concussion protocol. There's no need to make to say Shedeur is going to start. There's just no need.
And here is where they could actually get away with a little bit of gamesmanship if they do want to wait until Wednesday to make it public. I personally would rip the Band-Aid off now so both young quarterbacks know where they stand and we're not having a mystery who's it going to be.
DTR.
It's a surprise.
30 minutes before kickoff.
So that's where hopefully he went and told them that if you don't want to tell the media.
Right.
Go tell the quarterbacks that. No, but if he's going to do the thing where it's like, Shedeur, well, we don't know, and then Dylan gets out there and it's like, he clears, and now we're doing the half reps thing, and we're trying to split it up, and we're not getting guy either ready. Then you're back to the two quarterbacks you have none thing.
I do want to say, by the way, I think it is abundantly clear now that there has been a clear line divided in the sand between Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. And the foundation to this was laid throughout the week where, we heard the reports and the leaks that came out that they weren't really gung-ho was the coaching staff of Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees about putting Shedeur Sanders on the field this year. However, it was ownership and it was the general manager that wanted to get a look at him. You see the embrace, not from Kevin Stefanski, but Andrew Berry in the locker room goes up to Shedeur Sanders and gives him a hug. I think AB wanted Shedeur Sanders on this football team. I think Dylan Gabriel at number 94 overall was a Kevin Stefanski pick. And I think when you're looking at what could happen at the end of the season, I do think there has certainly been a line drawn in the sand. And as we sit here right now with 3-8, I don't really know what's going to happen. Maybe Shedeur Sanders could go on a run and win a bunch of games and save everybody their jobs. Maybe it was one fluke start against a really bad football team and the ends, it just turns into more of what it's been offensively. But I do know one thing, and that's that they have certainly split from their alignment that had previously been preached, because you could see it. You can't ignore it.
Well, we got to take a break, but when we get back, I certainly want to talk about what that meant, if anything, for the Cleveland Browns' future. I also want to give a group on the Cleveland Browns their flowers. I thought it was well-deserved from yesterday's game. We'll talk about that when we get back right here on The Big Factor.
Well, he did get interviewed.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pannone, Rob Watson. We're continuing our celebration of the Cleveland Browns victory. Listen, we don't get many, so we got to celebrate it when we can. Guys, it has been a rough, and when I say rough, I mean rough year for the Cleveland Browns in general, but really this offensive line, guys. You've had injuries left and right. You've had bad performances, but I do want to give my flowers to the Cleveland Browns offensive line in their victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. Shedeur Sanders sacked just one time, as you mentioned, Nick, and that was a coverage sack. Right? Like, Shedeur Sanders had plenty of time, unfortunately, and to his credit, didn't throw the ball into danger, didn't turn the ball over, but he did get sacked. But I give the O-line credit because they gave him enough time. That was a coverage sack. We talked about it. This was a big topic point when Deshaun Watson started, was him running into sacks. Was the offensive line doing their jobs at times, but Deshaun Watson just running out of the pocket when it was clean. And ultimately, that does fall on the offensive line, even though sometimes it's not their faults. they had their best game of the season, hands down, in terms of pass protection in their victory against the Las Vegas Raiders. Guys, is there something to Shedeur Sanders being quarterback that just, is it an energy thing? They give the offensive line kind of new life to protect him? Or is it just, well, he's standing in the pocket, not panicking, and causing chaos and running into guys?
I thought that was the best managed pocket situation by a quarterback of the entire season. The way he... I don't want to say it was just a drastic thing. He wasn't creating sacks, and he was stepping up, and when he needed to, he rolled out. I think he just did the slight little things to help him out. He only scrambled when necessary, and it wasn't outlandish. So that was what we expected from Dillon Gabriel when we got rid of Joe Flacco. Like, we're going from the statue to we can move the pocket. This guy's a little more mobile. Turned out Dillon wasn't really elusive in the pocket. I think Shedeur's got a little bit of elusivity, a little bit quicker in the tight spaces. He's not this fast guy, but he's got the ability to buy the extra second to make the O-line look better.
I'll continue to give credit to the Browns. I have to say, because the one red flag, and it was well documented, was his tendency to drift back in that pocket and drift back, and then take a 10-yard sack. And that just was the one thing that absolutely could not happen against the Raiders, especially with Max Crosby on that defensive line. But what did Shedeur Sanders do? He didn't drift back. Instead, he drifted up. He stepped up into the pocket like an NFL franchise quarterback should. And what was that allowing him to do? Dissimilar to Dillon Gabriel, who would step up and then just get crunched because he couldn't see, guys, because of the physical limitations. Because Shedeur Sanders is a little bit taller, you were able to get at least two, and I haven't went back and watched the entire game tape yet, at least two really big throws to Harold Fannin Jr. that were just checkdowns in the middle of the field, but he was able to get off on of his legs and cook, and Harold Fannin was able to use his athleticism. That wasn't happening with the other quarterbacks because Joe Flacco was a statue, because Dillon Gabriel quite literally could not see over the big human beings in front of him. Shedeur Sanders was able to not drift back but step up and complete two nice dump downs to Harold Fannin that ended up being big passing gains. Like, really encouraging things out of the offense as a unit. And I do think a little bit of it is playing the Raiders, and that defensive line is not very talented outside of Max Crosby. And you'll see what happens, next week against the Niners and a couple other talented defensive fronts throughout the rest of the season. But again, it really was a good step forward for this Browns offensive line, who, by the way, quietly has been playing better since the team's bye week. Like, they haven't been as glaringly bad as they were to start the season coming out of the bye week. They've been a smidge better.
He was great rolling right. But just hitting the layups, as you would call it, but we were so used to seeing people not hitting layups.
Right.
We're so used to people not hitting layups. So many dump downs are behind and at guys' feet, so they got to turn and spin and catch. And then you lose all your momentum. You can't get upfield. He did a good job of just giving his guys a chance to make plays, and they made a couple plays on Sunday.
Well, listen, if I'm going to give the Browns offensive line their flowers, then I got to give a whole garden, a whole bouquet of flowers to that Browns defensive line.
Mason Graham, welcome to the NFL. Holy
sacks. 10 sacks for the Cleveland Browns defensive unit against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's just one shy of the franchise record of 11 sacks for our Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett tallied 3 more in this victory against the Raiders. That gets him up to 18 sacks so far this season. That, of course, breaks the single-season Browns record of 16, which he set twice, by the way, in back-to-back years in 21 and 2022. So Myles Garrett, after getting paid that monster deal, making every penny of that, having the best season of his career, which is crazy to think about, guys. Still 6 regular season games left for our Cleveland Browns. He is on pace to not just break, obliterate that single-season sack record at 22.5 that's set and shared by Michael Strahan and T.J. Watt. Guys, Myles Garrett is playing on a whole nother level. We've called him Superman before. Now we're going to need somebody stronger than Superman to compare number 95 to.
Yeah, 5 sacks away from history, 6 games to go to do it. Myles Garrett right now, like, there aren't enough words to describe it. And then you mentioned, we mentioned, his comments about Shedeur. I think back to that game against the Jets that was so bad, and the offense was so miserable. And Garrett would have had every excuse to go up there and to just drag them through the mud. And they wouldn't have been able to do anything about it because he put pen to paper on that 4-year contract that'll pay him $40 million annually. So everybody else has to just sit there and shut up and listen to him say whatever's on his mind. But you know what he said? He said, we're not going to quit. I'm not going to let them quit. And on that defense, they certainly have shown 0 signs of quitting. So Myles not only taking leaps like on the field, he's one of the greatest ever. He's going to be at absolute no doubt first ballot Hall of Famer. He could quit after this season, and that would be the truth. But now the other stuff is starting to come true as well. And I think now the other stuff is, I think you're starting to see like young players like Mason Graham, kind of developmental project flyers like Malik Collins, all playing really well because of Myles Garrett. That's the guy that you paid a lot of money. And that's what makes me want to see Shedeur Sanders even more, because I want to find out if we got something at quarterback. Because if you got something at quarterback, you could get really good really fast, because this defense, make no bones about it, no hyperbole, no exaggeration. The defense is Super Bowl caliber. The rest of the team, I'm not quite sure, but that defense could go toe to toe with the best in football. You want to throw me the Texans? Sure. You want to throw me, the LA Rams? Sure. Like I'll take this Browns defense over all of them.
Malik Collins only a half a sack behind TJ Watt this year. Myles Garrett, 18 sacks, 26 tackles for loss. It's insane. Enough talking about him. If you don't know, you just don't watch the sport. You're just unserious. You're an unserious football fan if you don't know. If you don't understand, we've been saying it for years. He's the best player. He finally got some help. You see what it is. We got it. Mason Graham. He was everywhere on the football field yesterday. Almost all of Myles' sacks, except for the one at the end, the strip sack, was due to him getting pressure up the middle, forcing the quarterback to step back. And that's what we've been saying our whole lives, is that if we ever had any other good rushers on the line, Myles Garrett would be unstoppable. It's the same thing. They're triple teaming him. I think it was Devin Bush who got to fly up the middle one time because they had a double team, and then the extra guy they kept in the block was still sitting there behind them looking for Myles Garrett, and he's able to sneak in when we do send the blitzes. So it just allows the defense to play overall. He's the key. He's the motor. He's what makes it go. It all is based on him, and when he's going, you can't stop him with three guys, and when you got to put three guys on him, you can't stop the rest of our guys, and that's just what it is. It's beautiful. It's the most dominant pass rush I've seen.
It was so funny, too, when they lined up Myles like right on center, and he just bull rushed straight throughout the center all the way back into Geno. I think it was in the second quarter.
It's beautiful, man.
Well, oftentimes we've seen it be a one-man show with Myles Garrett on that defensive line, but that certainly wasn't the case, as we mentioned, against the Las Vegas Raiders in their victory. 10 total sacks as a unit again. Devin Bush got a sack. Isaiah McGuire got a sack. Cameron Thomas got a sack. Myles Garrett, of course, had 3. Mike Hall with half a sack.
Like
kind
Oprah.
Of a make-a-wish sack for Mike Hall there. But, hey, we'll take it when we get him. Malik Collins, you mentioned, 2.5 sacks. Shelby Harris got in for half a sack. Jerome Baker got in for half a sack. That adds up to 10 sacks. And it's not a coincidence that Myles Garrett is having his best season when you are getting the interior pass rush from Malik Collins and Mason Graham. The interior has been tremendous this season, and it just opens up so much for Myles Garrett. Maybe the best defensive season we'll ever see in NFL history, at least to this point in terms of sacks. What Myles Garrett is doing is superhuman, and it's so fun to see him do it in a Cleveland Browns uniform. You go back to when he requested the trade last February. Waters got a little muddy, but it came to a resolution. He signed the contract, and hey, he's having the best year he's ever had in his career, and that says something.
Broke his own record.
It's crazy. All right, let's take a break. When we get back, we're going to unveil our FanDuel parlay of the day, and we'll head everybody out of here. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pannone, Rob Watson. Well, our Cleveland Browns got a much-needed victory over the Las Vegas Raiders, 24-10, to improve to 3-8. Now, we don't keep track of our record here on FanDuel as our parlays of the day. I got to say, we're probably under 500.
One in a row, though.
But
One in a row, though. Got to
all
start
that
somewhere.
matters is today. Nick, why don't we tell everybody about FanDuel and we can see what we cooked up?
Yeah, guys, absolutely. A lot of football talk on the program today. Going to be a lot of football talk on the program this week is obviously Thanksgiving, Turkey Day, but don't forget about all the NBA action. And FanDuel is your home for live betting. So even if you miss the start of the game or you just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you could even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a chance at an even bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join our friends at FanDuel because they're giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So just visit FanDuel.com/bigplay to sign up today. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Got to be 21 plus, present in select states, first online real money wager only, $5 first deposit is required. Bonuses are issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.
Jack, we've done this many times. Let's do it again.
Yeah, it's time to go back-to-back. Let's do it. We're starting with a little bit of Monday Night Football action. The Panthers are heading all the way out to San Francisco to take on the Niners. We're going Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown. One of the best bets in all the sport. And guys, our favorite bet in the world, Brock Purdy,
Sharp.
5 rushing yards, #sharp. You know he's going for it. The Iowa State kid on the ground. He can get 5. Then, guys, we got some Monday afternoon, before noon college basketball. This is a rarity. But, hey, Thanksgiving week, we're going to go with it. Troy heading into Toledo in the Bahamas, I believe. We're taking the Rockets. We're going with Glass City. The fellas, plus odds, are going to get this one done. And then, hey, Stony Brook, we know they got a tough team. Every single year their team is competing one of those mid-major spots in the tournament. But, Nick, we got Pacific playing basketball today. There's one thing we can say to you guys, and that's go Tigers. So we're going Pacific in this one. CMC anytime touchdown. Brock Purdy, 5 rushing yards. Toledo moneyline in basketball. Pacific moneyline in basketball. Are they used to playing this early? I mean, this has to be like 5 a.m. for them. Anyway, it doesn't even matter. We're getting it done. Let's go and do it. Back-to-back parlays for the fellas. Let's get it done.
Guys, if you are watching us live, stay tuned tonight for the Big Play Cleveland show. We got a very special
Cannon
guest,
guy, huh?
Joe Thomas joining the boys to talk. What time will that be out for the people who want to watch?
It's 9 o'clock,
Yeah,
right?
8 p.m. on X, and then it'll replay all week on the FanDuel Sports
Yes,
Network.
sir. So tune in if you want to hear Joe Thomas break down the Victory Monday, Shedeur Sanders debut. Make sure you guys aren't going to want to miss that.
Yeah, I think I want to hear what a Hall of Famer has to say about that Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders' first NFL start, so don't miss that. We got just about 2 minutes, fellas. And you know, I couldn't get out here without talking about Thanksgiving because 'tis the week as we record this on Monday, just a couple days away. On Thursday, my favorite holiday. Nick, I know you don't feel the same way, but we got some good NFL games. Packers, Lions, Chiefs, Cowboys, Bengals, Ravens. That's the nighttime game. Game you're most looking forward to on Thursday? Is it the 1 o'clock Packers Lions? Maybe before you start to eat as you're still prepping that food? Is it Chiefs Cowboys? Maybe while you eat, or maybe you're getting that nap in, missing that one. Or the Bengals Ravens kicking it off at 8:20 Thanksgiving evening, potentially the return of Joe Burrow. Which game are we looking forward to the most, Rob? I'll start with you.
Chiefs Cowboys, because there's just going to be great slander either way. You love to see the two most annoying fan bases possibly in the NFL. So someone has to lose, hopefully. So that'll be great. Probably Dallas going out sad. It's always nice to see the Cowboys lose on Thanksgiving. It makes America happy.
Nick, what do you look forward to?
I'm going to actually go with that first game. I was thinking about picking the AFC North matchup at night. I just don't know. Like, I think the Bengals got to be dead, right,
Yeah.
guys?
It's because Flacco. I saw Jake Browning take a snap on Sunday. I don't know what
And
was
I
going
think
on.
it'll be Joe Burrow's return
Well, he's back.
Thursday Night Football, but I don't know. I think the first 2 games are going to have more intrigue.
Jack?
I'm a sick human being, so give me the Navy-Memphis college football game on Turkey Day. Then you got the Egg Bowl following up on Friday. I love a good college slate. You know that about me.
I'm going with Chiefs Cowboys because the Chiefs, it's just 6-5, got a much needed win against the Colts, but they got more work to do. And for the Cowboys, well, they're 1 game away from getting above 500. They make those blockbuster trades, still trying to get in that playoff picture. Alrighty, hope everybody enjoyed today's show. Hope everybody has a wonderful and safe holiday for Thanksgiving. I won't see anybody else this week. I'll be back next week. Until
have
then,
fun, Ryan.
And as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Shout out FanDuel, shout out Garage Beer. Go Browns, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Go Tigers.